Random House Audio presents Dark Places by Gillian Flynn. Read for you by Rebecca Lohman, Cassandra Campbell, Mark Deakins, and Robert Sundin. The days were a clan that might have lived long, but Ben Day's head got screwed on wrong. That boy craved Dark Satan's power, so he killed his family in one nasty hour. Little Michelle he strangled in the night, then chopped up Debbie, a bloody sight. Mother Patty he saved for last, blew off her head with a shotgun blast. Baby Libby somehow survived, but to live through that ain't much of life. Schoolyard Rhyme, circa 1985.
Literally one of the main reasons why I didn't film yesterday was because I looked like this. And day 2 and here I am. I hope that in my intro that I plan to do or put together, I was able to clarify what I'm doing and all of that so that you guys know now so that we can just move on. But yeah, yesterday was just kind of I can't really say lazy day. We did watch, we rewatched Late Night with the Devil? I'm blanking, but it was like my favorite movie from 2024 and we rewatched it. It held up. I love that movie so much. If you have not seen it, it is now on, well, it's on Shudder, but it's also on Disney Plus, which I thought was really cool. But again, intro aside, I'm rolling for the amount of hours I'm reading each day, tackling through thrillers and my other books that I'm currently working on because I am just in a rut. With that being said, day 1 was kind of just like the trial. I wanted to see like, one, I didn't really feel like filming, so I was just like, if this doesn't pan out, I don't really want to film today anyway, so I'm just not going to. So I rolled, and the whole idea was to roll and to read that amount of hours for the rest of my day. And at the same time, I just was overthinking it and was just like, they're never going to believe me. It's going to look like I'm lying, like how many hours I get. And then I rolled a 6. And since it was already like almost 3 p.m., I was like, okay, they're going to know that like, I'm not gonna lie and say I rolled a 6 today because I would have loved to have a smaller number than what I got because 6 on the first day is wild and I already was just like, okay, yeah, this may not work out, but I did power through and I loved it. I loved the challenge of it, of having a timer, and I did stop it. It took me till almost 5 o'clock in the morning. So it was a really late night for me and a really late start today. I didn't get up till like, I want to say like 11ish. It's spring break, so that's nice that I have that. I did pause my timer whenever I wasn't reading. So like whenever I was talking with my kids or James or something like that, or we were watching a movie, I did pause. So none of that counted either, and that's why it took me till 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning to get my 6 hours done. And technically, I feel like I could just roll over the time to the next day if I wanted to, which I might end up doing this week. We'll see. My biggest thing is I want to finish a thriller each day to talk to you guys about, but also the extra time just kind of rollovers into all of the other like 8 books that I have started. I'm loving all of them. Why I keep starting new books, I'm not going to really talk about them as much besides just letting you guys know my progress as far as this challenge goes and how much time I was able to put on the other books as well. But yeah, I did roll 6 and then I did try to take clips because I was just still overthinking it and was just like, are they going to believe me that like I read for 6 hours? But I in fact did. And I started off with Gillian Flynn's Dark Places. This was the book troop from Gabby Reed's, her book club pick for January. I am just now getting to it. I'm behind on some of my book club picks. Not many, but just some. Book troop I'm just failing on, and I really feel like it's because she has picked so many thrillers back to back, which is kind of like my book club that I like because there's thrillers. But if you guys know from like the past year or so, I just don't always mix well with thrillers anymore, and they used to be like my thing. But yeah, last year thrillers were really bad to me. So I'm just kind of like, every time I pick up a thriller, I'm like, here we go. I also feel like I put this one off because I wasn't looking forward to it. Don't get me wrong, I like Gone Girl. I think it's an incredible thriller. I do feel like for me reading that one, which I didn't read it back in like its prime time, but I did read it before I watched the movie. So like I didn't know. For some reason I wasn't spoiled over the years, but it's still, the reveals weren't like super major to me either. I think the enjoyment of the ride of reading and why these characters are doing what they're doing, that was the appeal to me. And then I read The Grown Up, her novella, loved it. Then I read Sharp Objects, and I hated that book so much that I kind of swore off Gillian Flynn for a while. And I've owned this one. I thrifted it a while back. I've owned it. It's sat on my shelf for many, many, many months at this point. And so because of Gabby, it was the perfect time to finally just bite the bullet and read it. My library is coming through with audiobooks, which is perfect because it's spring break. The weather is so nice. Yesterday I had like our back deck door open. I had the windows in here open, letting the breeze come in. And since we were gone or had plans the past quite a few days, and last week was just super busy, I have fallen behind on like every house chore. So yesterday was kind of a catch up on like things like the dishes and cleaning the places that like I may have missed, wiping stuff down and stuff like that this past week. But also I'm like really taking my time with it and making it more of like a spring cleaning. So I have plenty more to do today. I just unclogged some drains that we put off last week, and that was pretty gross. So yeah, not really super appealing stuff that you guys probably want to see as B-roll. So I apologize if the lack of B-roll is irritating this week, but I'll do what I can. But I absolutely love that my library apps came through for me on these thrillers because it makes thrillers go by so much faster when you have an audiobook too, and the narration of this one was pretty great. I really liked it. We follow Libby, who is one of the Day kids. And the Days are known for a massacre that took place like I think it's like 25 years ago. This family was like, again, like it was like a massacre. Like they were all wiped out. The mom, 2 daughters, another daughter like fled, which was Libby. And then the son, who was only 15 at the time, was charged for all of the murders. So not only are we getting multiple point of views, we're jumping back to the mom and her point of view of that day leading up to the events that happened. Also Ben, the brother who was arrested for this, and this is who we are to think has done this. This is what Libby, the main character, his sister, thinks occurred as well. There is a couple other point of views that might be a little spoilery, but just to mention it because there is quite a few point of views going on in this book, which made it a lot more interesting. But between the flashback days, you're going back to that day where everything happened and the buildup of it, we go back and forth to Libby at the present day because she is besides the brother, the only remaining kid, and again 25 years later, so she is an adult. And this character just really lacked for me in ways the main character and Sharp Objects did too. So I automatically was put off by this book. I was like, this isn't going to be a good one for me. I don't like this character. She's reminding me so much of the character in Sharp Objects, and it just wasn't it. I do know she wrote Sharp Objects, that was her debut, and then she wrote this one, I believe. Gone Girl and then Grown Up followed. So the characters were just super similar. A lot of the stuff, the triggering stuff in this book that occurred were super similar. Sharp Objects is a super dark book. If you've read it, you know. This one is just as dark in my opinion. Besides the whole, family massacre going on, the rest of her life, she spent using the money she got from her mother's life insurance and pretty much just blowing it just so that she could just get by and not do anything. And now she's coming up short on cash and is not really knowing how she is going to make it day to day. She's starting to get a little desperate, and she runs into this kind of like underground true crime posse who are asking her to look into her case with them because they believe her brother is innocent. And this takes her down a path of revisiting everything that happened back then, also going to different witnesses, visiting her brother for the first time in prison, trying to track down her dad, who is always abusing alcohol and drugs, and trying to figure out where he's at, and so many more. We're getting so many like key people to what happened back then that it's kind of like almost like a whodunit situation, and trying to figure out with the character like who is sus and who was a part of that night and what actually went down, because her memories going back to when she was like 8 years old are a little bit cloudy, and she's also thinking back to times when she felt coerced by law enforcement and even social workers working with her on the case. Really just jarring, weird things. Also, I feel like there was a lot of parts that just like, really, should that have been in here? You know, like I get we're trying to learn more about the character, but like some of it just was so pointless. And even towards the end, I was like, why was that even in here? Like it made no difference to the story. So I do think it could have been cut down a little bit. But honestly, I didn't have as bad of a time with this as I did with Sharp Objects. I do like this one better, but I will say check your trigger warnings. She is such a dark author, and it is really weird being pulled out from her story at the end. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like this story is just depressing. It is so depressing. And even, this isn't like a happy ending either. It's just super depressing. The dark elements throughout it, and I get dark places, but like so many things throughout it are so triggering and just so vile and just ugh. And even the ending is just, it just left me feeling sick to my stomach. I hated that so much. But it was just also really jarring being pulled out of the story and into her acknowledgments where she talks about like loving the area, because if you didn't know, you probably do, but it's a little bit more meaningful to me because I'm from Missouri. So she is from Missouri as well. And so she writes about small towns in Missouri and Kansas City, really deep dives into like these rural areas. And some of it is so spot on, it hurts. Like it's so hard and triggering to read because I'm just like, oh my God. But then you get pulled from the story into this like cheery acknowledgement section that is just like, I love this area. I love these people. I love blah, 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 blah. And like, she talks about her parents so like fondly and endearing, and like, they're the most amazing people ever. And I'm like, what? Like, I feel like there is quite a few of us that feel we are very messed up from Missouri. And some of the stuff that we've went through, some of the stuff that we see in our small towns and that we see happen around here, that I'm just like, oh my gosh, that could be a Gillian Flynn book. I don't know, it's just so bizarre to me how cheery she is about like her parents, and maybe there's more to her childhood than what I know. But yeah, I don't know. It was so weird to me. I'm like, I thought reading her books, I thought that she would have more of a tragic childhood and like, and again, I don't know her story, so this is just me just thought processing with you guys, but I just thought it would be more of like I had a challenging upbringing, you know, my parents were awful, and you know, this area. And she even like thanks like all of the people that like helped her from like Kansas City and stuff like that. And even like almost like semi apologizes for like the way that she might have voiced them. I'm like, girl, you do realize in every single one of your books, you bad talk Missouri so bad. And don't get me wrong, I know about Missouri's faults. I'm from a very small town with very questionable things and people, but I will say Missouri is such a beautiful state if you put the people aside. There is some good people, but I feel like that's just like anywhere. But Missouri, I feel like is always looked down upon as a really horrible state when it is such a beautiful state. It just has some very questionable people and questionable things that happen. But again, I feel like that's most places, especially these days. Yeah, I don't know. It was weird going from how awful her books are about Missouri and the people, and then to just like, so sorry for like trashing you guys, but here's my book. Anyways, I think I'm landing at 3 stars. It's a low 3 though. I feel like I can't give it anything lower than that because I don't really do like the half ratings. I stick to the Goodreads ratings, and I gave Sharp Objects 2 stars, and this is better than Sharp Objects. So I will give it 3, but it's a low 3. It wasn't anything like amazing. And I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of put me in a little bit of a rut of picking up another thriller today, unfortunately. And I just want to mention, like, I know that I want to say works in publishing now, but I think it's so weird. I was looking up her books, and she wrote her last one, which was the novella, The Grown-Ups, or The Grown-Up, whatever it is, in 2015. It's been that long. Like, I wonder if she's going to just come out one day and just bam, drop a book and it's just gonna go viral. Today, earlier, I rolled, and I hope that you guys just believe me. I did try to set up my camera in a way that it was a one take. You guys seen the roll, and then I just went over it and showed you what I rolled, but I rolled 3 hours. I've only made it about a half hour in. Yeah, you guys can kind of see my timer. Maybe if it focuses. But I am at 2 hours, 32 minutes, 52 seconds. So almost 30 minutes in, and I've actually made a little bit, you guys can see, like a little bit of a dent in this. This is Sally Hepworth's The Soulmate. This was a past book club pick from the book troupe, so weird. But I drew this out of my TBR jar for Q1 this year, so I needed to read it since I drew it. And I think it was in my drawer because it was a past book club pick that I didn't get to. So finally getting to it. I'm only 50 pages in, which isn't bad, but it's reading super, super quick. I just feel like I mentioned, I'm kind of in a rut from the last one. So I'm trying today, you guys. I don't know if my review is going to be super solid on this just because of my headspace, unfortunately. So I'm really trying. Bear with me. But I do only have 3 hours, well, 2.5 now. So I don't even know if I'm gonna be able to finish this in that time. We will see. I do have the audiobook as well, and I have more stuff to get done around the house today. I'm thinking about open the windows again, making it a whole spring cleaning week. Just getting stuff done each day and detailed so that I have plenty to do while I'm listening to my thrillers all week with you guys. But I guess I could read the synopsis of this, but yeah, it says, picture a lovely cottage on a cliff with sloping lawns, walking paths, and beautiful flowers. It's Gabe and Pippa Gerald's dream home in a sleepy coastal town. But their perfect house hides something sinister. The tall cliffs have become a popular spot for people to end their lives. Over the past several months, Gabe comes to their rescue, literally talking them off the ledge. Until one day, he doesn't. When Pippa discovers Gabe knew the victim, the questions spiral. Did the victim jump? Was she pushed? And would Gabe, the love of Pippa's life, her soulmate, lie? So what I have gotten so far is that synopsis. It described their home. They have 2 daughters. And every once in a while, it described the first time they seen someone up on the cliff and how her husband Gabe went and was able to talk them down. And now they work with the police. They have a system. He goes out and tries to talk them down while she calls the police. It just takes the police a little bit of time to get out there to help de-escalate what's the situation and what's going on. So during that time, he has been able to talk down multiple people and help them, save their lives or not take their lives. Until this time, she is noticing, she sees this woman on the ledge, and she's noticing her husband Gabe walking closer and closer, and she knows like that's the one rule that like he is not supposed to break, is you don't get close to them and you don't touch them, because they could pull you over and then it's two people instead of, it's still tragically the one. She feels this like body language between the two is really weird, and it's very odd to her, but at the same time, as a mother, she's being very distracted. Her kids are like yelling and like hurting each other and, you know, just being kids. So she's having to like keep being like, hey, stop that, don't do that, and like help them and blah, 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 blah. And then she'll look back and like something else is like happening and she's like, that's really odd. And then the kid will do something else and she's like, hey, hey, like trying to break them up. So again, very distracted. And then when she turns back around, his hands are kind of out at a weird angle, she says, almost like, did he push her? But the lady is gone. And then when she goes out there, she talks him down and he's like crying, but like he just says, there's nothing I could do. She just jumped. And even when the police ask her if she's seen anything else, she just like goes along with his story, but she's like, I feel like in my gut, like I'm maybe lying to them, but I don't know about, because I don't know the whole story. And when she tries talking to him about it, he was like, my arms were out because I was trying to catch her. And he's like, I'm so sorry. She's like, he looks guilty. And then he's like, I'm so sorry. I know I'm not supposed to do that because she could have pulled me over, blah, 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 blah. And she forgives him or whatever. And they just kind of move on. But she still has this gut feeling that there's something more to it. And I didn't know that she is going to discover probably rather soon that Gabe knew this woman. But we are kind of getting a backstory on their history, how they met, and why he's like her soulmate, all of the things that just aligned and connected between the two of them. But also, what I'm not liking is, maybe it's just too soon with this one, like jumping back and forth point of view so much, but which I didn't mind, but this one's kind of weird to me. It jumps to the point of view of Amanda, who is the woman who jumped. There has already been a chapter where it'll say Amanda and it says before. So that I'm completely fine with. It goes back to Amanda's life and like her husband who she's with and like what they have going for them, whatever, her life story. That I'm completely fine with that. I like to go back and kind of get the point of view of the person. And it's almost just like this book where it's like building up to the events that occurred. I don't mind that. But the first two chapter, I think it was two, of Amanda was Amanda and it says after. And it's literally like she's talking to us from the grave. And that to me is just, I don't know. Like you think that it would be unique and cool, but the way that the author went about it is just kind of like weird to me. Like we're so drawn into like the realism of this thriller and then like abruptly taken out because now we're listening to the ghost of this woman who just jumped. I don't know. It's just kind of weird to me and taking me out of the story a little bit, but I don't know. I will let you guys know what I think. I don't know how much more of the story I'll be able to give to you without spoiling anything. So I'm going to go about my day and see how it goes. But I also forgot to mention before I leave you guys, because I know this has been so long. Yesterday, after my 6 hour, well, it took me about 5-ish hours, which honestly, not bad to get through Dark Places. So I had about an hour left to read. And so I made some progress on my Witchcraft for Wayward Girls by Grady Hendrix. I am reading this for another vlog, so stay tuned. But I did just read for an hour, so I got through a few chapters. I am annotating, so it's taking me like a little bit longer to get through it. But yeah, I made it to chapter 13, which is cool. If I finish this one today, I don't know if I'm going to go back to Witchcraft or if I'm going to go to one of my other books that I have going. I haven't made my mind up yet. But last night I also went ahead and like one of my just plain bookmarks, I put sticky paper on and wrote on it because my other book club that I participate in The Void, I've mentioned it here, before, I'm actually reading Witchcraft for Wayward Girls 4, is doing a year-long scavenger hunt. You can check out the Instagram page. It's just in the Void Book Club. But it's a scavenger hunt. So you're supposed to find like random things like an insect bite, a broken object, a locked room, the word machete, just stuff like that, but horrible handwriting. But I just wrote them all down, and then I crossed out as I go, like I'm crossing out the ones that I found. I seen a couple other people from the book club doing this, putting them on their bookmark, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that is so smart. I've got to do it. And it has helped tremendously. There was, after this girl like jumps off the cliff when the police come out, it is, I believe, I've never read from Sally Hepworth before. Says she has lived around the world, including Singapore, the United Kingdom, and Canada. I figured she was probably from the UK because the police use torches instead of saying flashlights. But one of my things on here was a character using a flashlight. So I was able to mark that off. I am just trying to use one prompt per book. But I want to say there was also a line in here that talked about a mosquito bite, and I was like, I gotta wait. But the next time I read a book with a mosquito bite, I'm gonna use it, because I also used liquefied food for Witchcraft for Wayward Girls, and there was a mosquito bite in that too, and I'm like, maybe I should have used it for that. Also, I was able to check off footprints, because at the crime scene, there was a shoe print in the blood. So if you do any scavenger hunts or book club things where you have to have prompts, write them on a bookmark. It's so handy to have and to look and see like what I still need to like mark off. Anyways, I'm gonna get on with my day. I have bathrooms to clean. Yeah, I will check in with you guys later. I feel like I don't have that long to read today. So let's see how much progress I can make.
Macmillan Audio presents The Soulmate, written by Sally Hepworth. Read for you by Barry Kleinick and Jessica Douglas Henry. Chapter 1. Pippa. No. Someone is out there. I'm standing at the kitchen sink, my hands plunged in warm soapy water. Gabe is beside me, supposedly drying dishes, but mostly drinking red wine and singing to Edith Piaf. He made coq au vin for dinner using every pot in the house. But if there is one thing to be said for my husband, it's that he knows how to create a mood.
So my reading is all over the place this week, and I realized that. But the goal was to read thrillers and to read a lot of them this week. So I do feel like I'm accomplishing that, but I kind of broke the rules again, because my original rules was to follow like whatever I roll that morning is what I read first. Today I cheated and I jumped into Anne Rice's Interview with the Vampire because I'm needing to read this for another video. And I actually made a little bit of a dent for just starting it this morning, but I did like a whole masking situation, just relaxing. I'm working on my double granny square sweater, although it literally feels like summertime out here, hence the appearance. Today, the bar is low because we took a break from like inside chores and we've been working outside, like just getting some things cleaned up. The rabbits are about to go outside, stuff like that. But also, we have a storm coming this weekend. So we're trying to like prepare and get ahead for that. And obviously the rabbits aren't going to be out there for the storm, but we're just like getting things prepared for the upcoming weeks with spring. But it literally is like high 70s, almost feels like 80 degrees outside. And I'm like, I'm sweating. I'm like, can we have like spring before we jump straight into summer? So yesterday I dove into the Soulmate. And today I actually had to use like, I don't even know, it wasn't even an hour. I think it was just like 30 minutes or something like that, or even less of my time for today, which I don't think I've mentioned, but I rolled a 2 today. So that's exciting. Although I feel like I'm needing like these higher numbers to be able to get through all the thrillers. Otherwise, this is going to be a 7-day long instead of like the 5 days that I originally thought. But I used the first part of it to finish the Soulmate, so let's talk about it. This is my first Sally Hepworth, and I think I mentioned that in the last part, so I'm gonna try not to be a broken record here and just tell you guys that I really didn't like this book. I preface that by saying I think I'm landing at a 3-star because this is not a horrible book, it's not a terrible book, it just, the tropes within it and the characters and their choices, without being able to say anything because everything would be a spoiler, I hated. It's just not for me. It doesn't mean it's a bad book. I think other people are going to enjoy this, but for me, I'm once again landing at a very, very, very low 3. Like if I gave 2.75, if I gave 2.5, and again, like, I don't think that it says any of the things that like I don't like in the synopsis, so I can't say anything to you guys, but it's called A Soulmate. It deals a lot within relationships, family relationships, relationships in general, and like what can happen in relationships, good, the bad, the ugly, and I feel like it touches on a lot of that. And even the like afternote or the like acknowledgements, she talks about how this book started off with the idea of her and her friends sitting around and being like, kind of like nagging on their husbands, like in a silly way, like, oh my gosh, if he does this one more time, I'm gonna murder him. And like, just being goofy about it, you know? That kind of developed into this, which not is to say it's that exact, because even she says in the acknowledgements, like, obviously that's not what the Soulmate's about, but that's where it originally started as kind of like a joke on just like the things that spouses or people in relationships do that could kind of like tick the other ones off and make them unhinged. And yeah, I wish this would have done it for me more. But again, all the tropes, the reveals, the twist, everything within this, I just don't care for in books, especially thrillers. So it just didn't really do it for me. I almost feel like I'm landing at a 2-star. Am I talking my rating down right now? I don't know. I guess you guys will know by the time I edit. For the rest of my time, I read The Night Shift by Alex Finlay. And look how far I made it, you guys. And that was just like, I would say an hour and 45 minutes. The audiobook, this goes by so fast. I will say there was a couple times where I forgot to hit like unpause on my timer. So I do think it's probably more around 2 hours, 2.5 hours that it took me to get through this with the speed I listened to. But I'm loving this. This might be the first hit. Now, don't get me wrong, it doesn't feel like a 5-star. I don't know, I feel almost like my days of giving 5 stars to thrillers are over. Like, I just feel like nothing is that surprising to me, and I know that that's not supposed to be like the whole thing. I get it. You're reading a cozy mystery or whatever because it's cheesy and they have their formulas, and I get that, but I don't know. I just feel like thrillers don't really land at 5 stars for me anymore. So I'm not expecting this to be a 5-star, but I feel like it could be a 4-star. mainly because I love the way this is written. I've never read anything from Alex, but I am loving the pacing, the way it's written, the way the characters are described. I feel like I don't have to love characters in a thriller, so that doesn't bother me if like a character is unlikable. I don't really care about the character growth or anything like that. I just want the writing to grip me. I want to be interested in said case, and I think that's why I'm vibing with this, is because this is almost like crime fiction. It's New Year's Eve 1999. Y2K is expected to bring chaos, planes falling from the sky, elevators plunging to earth, world markets collapsing. A digital apocalypse. None of that happens, but at the Blockbuster Video in New Jersey, 4 teenagers working late are attacked. Inexplicably, only one survives. Police quickly identify a suspect, the boyfriend of one of the victims, who flees and is never seen again. 15 years later, 4 teenage employees are attacked at an ice cream store in the same town, and again, only one makes it out alive. I'm so sorry, my watch just keeps pinging. I'm getting those steps today. In the aftermath of the latest crime, 3 lives intersect, and the lone survivor of the Blockbuster massacre, who is forced to relive the horrors of her tragedy, the brother of the fugitive accused, who's convinced the police that they have the wrong suspect, and FBI agent Sarah Keller, who must delve into the secrets of both nights, stirring up memories of teen love and lies to uncover the truth and murders on the night shift. Really cool idea. I'm absolutely loving it. And again, I think it comes down to the writing, the pacing of the story. The characters are not like super likable, but I do like that we jump point of views since they aren't as interesting. So it kind of is like you don't get bored with a single one of them because you're jumping so quickly to the next one, trying to solve everything going on. Our main character that we follow throughout a lot of it is Ella. She is the lone survivor of the 1999 attack at Blockbuster Video, which I thought was so cool. That I think is the biggest downfall of this so far, is the fact that the Blockbuster and 90s vibes was only like the prologue and like little flashbacks. But I'm like, oh, I would have loved this to be like, almost like the first attack was, you know, in like the 80s or the 70s, and like the current attack is in the 90s, so we can get a little bit more of that 90s vibe, because I was just loving the mentions of the Blockbusters. It also described like the workers there, which I thought was really cool, and like how one of them was kind of like the rebel, and she would sneak off for like smoke breaks a lot and do things she wasn't supposed to, like put a horror movie in, I think it was like Nightmare on Elm Street and the 101 Dalmatians videotape because the parents called and were so mad and said that their kid was gonna have to like go through therapy. Like stuff like that I just thought was so cool, because we're talking about like VHSs and Blockbuster and just stuff from that time that I'm like, oh, that would have been so cool to like dive more into that. I'm just really enjoying it. I like the jumps of point of views. We have Ella, who's from the first one, and now we have this like FBI agent, Keller, who we're following, and then Chris, who is the brother of the guy who was accused of the first one. But there's like these connections. So the ice cream shop one happens, and the lone survivor wasn't a worker there. She was somebody that was just coming in to order and went to the bathroom. And then she was attacked by being like hit over the head. But before she was hit over the head, the killer said the same thing to her that he did to the last lone survivor. So it's kind of like linking the two in a way, and brings Ella back into play. But also, this new lone survivor is having this attachment to Ella as kind of almost like this final girl vibe going on. So they talk a lot, and it's like Ella is the only one she wants to talk to, the only one that can help her through this traumatic event. But she's already kind of coming off very sketchy. So I'm interested to see where that goes. I'm just interested to see where it all goes. Like, Chris is like convinced it wasn't his brother and that his brother was with him the original night. But at the same time, like, he has been trying to follow this like YouTuber who he says sounds just like his brother, but like doesn't ever show his face, and figure out where he's at. So he's like trying to track him down. And I think that's kind of cool, because I do feel like around 2014 was like a really big boom in YouTube. So it does make sense to kind of have that play in, and it's not done in a weird way either. I've enjoyed it. Obviously more has happened since then, but I feel like that's all I can really say right now, besides I will be back to let you guys know what I give it. But so far, I'm liking it. I think it's the crime fiction in me. I feel like I have to have a little bit more of that going on than just a thriller, and I enjoy it more that way. I don't have any more time on my timer, so I don't know if I'm going to finish this tonight or just start it with my timer tomorrow, so that way like I can stick to my original goal of like, after you get done with the timer, you get to read whatever you want, because I really do want to finish Interview with the Vampire or make some more progress on it, or one of my many other books that I have out. And on top of that, we're gonna chill tonight. I'm gonna make shrimp tacos, and we are sipping on some margaritas. It is just the perfect weather for it, and I made spicy ones. So yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna be too tipsy to really get into certain books. So I'm just gonna see where the night takes me. At least I got my timer done today, and I will see you guys tomorrow, at least with maybe the review of this. If I finish it with the timer tomorrow, we'll see how many hours I get. Before I leave you guys though, look at how much progress I've made on this though. Like it's almost like down to my waist now, which is perfect. That means I'm so close to finishing the first one. And then I gotta make another one just like it for the double. So this will be like the front panel, and then I'll have the back panel, and then I just have to do sleeves. But I am so excited. I feel like I'm like staying on top of my goals, which is what I wanted with my like quarterly update videos. So I'm excited to be able to show you guys the progress and like completed projects that I make during this time. Yeah, besides that, I can't believe I'm on my third thriller already, and I think I am just going to stick to the 5. And the 5th one that I have, you guys, is like a newer one. It's that Fatal Invited, or You Are Fatally Invited, or something like that. I just got it through Aardvark, but I just seen somebody post about it and that there's like a clue map in the front. I'm like, okay. Because I was just gonna do maybe the night shift and one more, and I was like, maybe I'll just do 4 thrillers since I rolled a 2. I really want to read that one too, so I think it's gonna be 5 thrillers.
Macmillan Audio presents The Night Shift, written by Alex Finlay, read by Brittany Presley, Katie McLean, Devin Hales, and me, Gary Tiedemann. Prologue, New Year's Eve, 1999. The night was expected to bring tragedy. Planes falling from the sky, elevators plunging to Earth, world markets collapsing, a digital apocalypse. But Y2K was an otherwise typical Friday night at the Blockbuster Video in Linden, New Jersey.
negative sign. I gotta document it. That's so sad. Stuff everywhere. Hello. I wish I was continuing this vlog, continuing the challenge and checking in, but unfortunately, from what you guys have probably seen in the last B-roll, life happened and it's been pretty devastating. I feel like I've been very like strong and just going through the motions. I mean, me and my family, we didn't get hit as hard as so many people around us, but the emotions and just the devastation of like driving around our town and just seeing so many that went through it is just so hard. We had not one but two tornadoes hit our town 2 nights ago now, and it was really scary. When I was little, always been around tornadoes, but we are just kind of in an area where they always stay below us or they always stay right, you know, north of us. And I grew up in different areas around. I used to live in a, you know, more north of us to where we would get tornadoes a lot more, but still would always somehow miss us. But like I grew up around like that devastation and like people having to rebuild, and you know, it's hard. It's hard every single time. But I think since I haven't really experienced that since I was little, it's been a while. And then there was one other time when I was little that we were visiting this family that we had connections with at the time, and we had to end up going to their town church and having to shelter there, and you could literally hear and see, you could hear that strong whistle, and you could hear all the debris and everything like hitting the sides of the church, and you could literally see the tornado coming through the town. And it was so scary as a little kid. Like we thought that we were gonna die. Let me tell you, 2 nights ago, it took me back to that night. Like it was really bad. There was a tornado that started in Arkansas, and it was on the ground for hours. And when it finally reached our state, it went through our hometown where we have a bunch of family. Thankfully, everybody is safe. It went through another town where we have family as well, and they're all safe, but did take some damage. And then it came to us. And by the time it came to us, it went down the road where our kids went to kindergarten. Like there's a kindergarten center, and it got destroyed. There was like a mobile home neighborhood completely destroyed. I think there was at least one fatality there. I think there was a church destroyed. There were some more houses around the area that took a lot of damage. A store that took damage, kind of like an outlet mall that had like orthodontist and like different places like that in it that took damage. And then while that one was taking place, another one was funneling above Popper Bluff. And I believe this is the one that hit our neighborhood because, oh my gosh, our neighborhood took so much damage. It's so eerie. Driving through our neighborhood and seeing all the trees, all the debris, the houses that are missing parts of their roofs, and then driving onto the main road and it just looking like nothing happened. Like, sure, a couple restaurants have lost their signs, but like besides that, like it's like nothing happened. And everybody's just back to life normal, yet we're over here without electricity, just devastation. There's trees on houses, there's roofs in trees, and it's been raining since. It's now like this morning, I think it hit like upper 30s. So it was very cold not having electricity, and tonight it's supposed to hit the 30s and stay in the 30s all night. So there's just no way that we're going to be able to stay here with our kids, you know? So we're hoping we'll have electricity back today, but I don't know. I don't know when we'll get it back. It could be days. But yeah, we are fortunate that we just moved to a place this past year that has a basement. So we were able to hit the basement and bunker down there, and hearing that whistle again, because James was like, you know, I just checked outside and I hear the siren on in the town now. And I went and opened the door and I was like, oh my gosh, that's not a siren, that's a whistle. And so we went and we got into our, you know, safe spot, and the whistle was so loud. It's so scary and jarring, and it happened so fast, but you could just hear so much smacking into our house, and we could hear all the loud noises of the trees falling on our neighbor's house. Literally on either side of us, our neighbors have a tree on their house. Across the street, a tree on their house. Like there's just, it's everywhere. So many trees fell. There's trees over roads. Like nobody could even get to our house the first day until the afternoon, because of how many trees were down. You just couldn't drive. You couldn't do anything without having power. Like that is hard for a lot of people because we can't cook. You know, we do have water, and I'm so thankful for that, but we can't cook. And not to mention, it's been way over 24 hours. Like all of our food, our neighbor from a few streets over, once we were able to get out, she took some of our like freezer stuff, and because she somehow has electricity, so she took our freezer stuff and is storing that for us. But like all of our other food, everything in our fridge, it's just completely destroyed. Like it's just, ugh, thinking about the waste of everything. And I'm thankful we are safe. Some people didn't get that. Some people are having to shelter at other places that are opening their doors to family, and we are very fortunate to still have our house and to have each other and to not lose any family. And I mean, the devastation, if this tornado that was hovering would have touched down, the devastation in this area would have been so severe. Like it would have been so bad, so much worse. It funneled over our town and just kept getting lower and lower, and that's why we have so much damage. But it didn't touch ground until it got right out of our city. It's insane. If you are from the Midwest and you're going through any of this, man, I feel for you. It is so hard, and it's so hard seeing the people around you and what they have to, you know, go through too, and feeling so helpless. Like I feel like I can't do enough, and it's just gonna be really hard in our community for a while. Thank you for my little TED Talk, my little update on where we've been, because it's just been really hard, and I knew I needed to jump on here. James just left to go get some breakfast with the boys. And so I thought right now would be the perfect time. I'm not sure what we're doing today. I'm not sure if we're gonna pack up. Yesterday we packed up and left because we still didn't have electricity and got food, and then we traveled to a family member's house to stay with them and just kind of like recharge our phones, our batteries, everything, so that we had some throughout the night. But we did come home because we just had this hope, like maybe electricity was back. But like our animals are still here, so like I just don't know what that looks like tonight. I don't know if it's gonna be loading up animals. I don't know if it's gonna be, I have no idea. I will say they issued like that they needed help because like our like utility companies that are out like working on the electricity, they issued out like this is, we need more help pretty much. So trucks and utility companies from all around us are coming in and helping because there was still so many without power. And that's starting today. I should have first thing this morning. So I'm hoping, I just think we're gonna be some of the last ones to get help. Yeah, the workers, the local ones, were working all after the tornado hit throughout the entire next day. And it was just kind of like a, they just kept going. And so they were just kind of like, okay, like we have to give them downtime. So yeah, they brought out more trucks, and James said that he's counted like 10 different trucks around us. But we just think the damage here is so bad because of the trees, and I can literally look out my window and I see like power cords down on the ground. Like they're just down everywhere, that I have no idea. With that being said, I don't know where this video takes me. I kind of just want to pick up where I left off because whenever I need to escape reality, it's always into books. And I know that I kind of need that right now because it's just been so hard. I will say the day that the day the tornado hit that night, I was so kind of like up in the air and kind of anxious about things that I think I only read for like 30 minutes to an hour. I did roll a 5 that day. But I only read for like 30 minutes to an hour. And then of course, when like things started getting more and more severe, that was my main focus. So I think today I might try to pick up where I started with that. It's just kind of hard because I have to watch my phone battery and stuff, so it's hard to like physically time it as much, but I am going to try to finally finish the night shift so that I can review that for you guys. I'm like at the very, very end. I was going to finish it that day and then maybe start another thriller. I wasn't sure yet, but oh, I think they're back. But yeah, I will check back in soon. I just kind of wanted to give a little bit of an update about what we're going through and why I'm gonna have to extend this a little bit and just kind of do it in my own way now to try to finish it. But I would like to get through a couple more possibly for this video.
Yeah, that's right to you. Oh, look at my baby Blue.
Wait, what about Screech? Have you pet Screech?
Yeah, that's Screech. He's more shy than Blue and Elvis. Oh. Here comes my Elvis.
Presley.
That's Harley over there. She's my favorite.
Was the eye of that tempest. But their mom had a fall down the street, and his parents found out the worst in each other, which was always surprising, since it was hard to believe that Rusty could possibly have more awfulness in him. He was a bottomless well of ugliness.
Hello you guys, again, let's not address any mess in the background. We have blankets, pallets. It is what it is right now. So while I checked in with you guys yesterday, and I did read yesterday after that, like, I didn't really continue on the challenge. I did hit the timer each time I read, and I did finish the night shift. So that was kind of like my main goal, was to try to finish this, but I didn't get to check in with you guys because we ended up having to pack up last night and just go. We still didn't have electricity, and it was going to get down in the 30s, so yeah, we couldn't stay here with the kids. We are very fortunate to have family that are about 45 minutes-ish away who didn't get hit as bad as us, and we were able to stay with them and stay the night there, and yeah, it's just been I didn't sleep very well because Axel fell asleep like in the car when we were trying to like get our stuff together and go, and it was so dark, and we kept holding out hope because literally these electric companies are literally working around the clock. Like, it's so sad how many people are without power to the point to where they're literally like working themselves in an insane amount. So yeah, we were kind of holding out, hoping that we would get ours back. But we did get to stay with people who do have electric, so we did stay warm last night, and then we came back today, and Axel had just, like I said, napped a little bit last night, or yesterday afternoonish, so he could not go to sleep last night. So I tried like staying up with him because I know like you're not used to sleeping at people's houses, you know. I didn't want to leave him, you know, scared and whatnot. So I came home and then I crashed. I slept, but we have our electric back. I'm really hoping most of the residential electric is back for everybody. I know that today they said they were moving slower because they're finally getting to the neighborhoods, ours, that have just broken poles. And that's what we're dealing with since the tornado literally hit through here. A bunch of the electric poles were just snapped in half. So yeah, we still have, outside this window I'm looking, we still have our lines going down. So they're not even secure, but it was enough to get electric on. So they're like, we're good. Like, just nobody touch it. Yeah, they're just working at like the roads right next to ours where all the poles are like snapped in half. And again, I just really hope that they were able to get most, if not all, residential homes back up and going, because it's just getting cold again, and just devastated for people. Today I am about to start a new book. I am going to clean out our fridge because most of our food is spoiled. James just went to the store to pick up kind of like our, you know, essentials and some food to get us by for a bit. I'm going to clean that out and get laundry going because I need to clean laundry. I need to get all of our bedroom cleaned up since the boys were camping out here for a couple nights. Yeah, just kind of straighten some things up after the storm. Tomorrow we'll probably go outside and do some more out there as far as like the trampoline and making sure we don't have any damage we haven't seen so far. School is out for the rest of the week. We were all out last week for spring break, and now it's extended this week because so many people are without, you know, a home. And our kindergarten center, I think I mentioned yesterday too, is just, it's a mess. They don't even know if they're gonna have kids there next August, so they have to try to figure out where to place everybody. And a lot of the other schools were still without power today. So yeah, it's Monday, St. Patrick's Day. Happy St. Patrick's Day. I do have a little bit of green on my Beetlejuice shirt. We also went out to eat with James's dad. Just kind of taking things like day by day. I really don't know what to expect. Oh, also we don't have internet. So although we have electricity, and I'm very, very fortunate for that, I don't know when you guys will see this video or any other video that I've worked on for a while. So my videos are going to be backed up for a while. I may even try to edit this one to come out next for when I'm able to. We're using our hotspots and stuff, so I think that that will really help, but just makes the progress of everything a lot slower. But we called and got an appointment for Friday. It's currently Monday, and they said they have over 200 appointments just this week. It's insane. Anyways, The Night Shift by Alex Finlay. I really liked this. I had such an amazing time with this before the tornado hit, and then I just kind of feel like since this was my first one I jumped back into, I just kind of had like this, like, I don't know. I feel like I'm docking from it because of the mood I was in because of the storm, which isn't really fair, but also like valid that I felt the way I felt. So I say that because I think that this is a really enjoyable crime fiction thriller. I feel like I've explained enough to not give anything away. I hope I did anyways, because I don't really want to be a broken record here. But yeah, it was just, I think my only downfall with it, I mentioned in the last part too, of just really wishing that this did take place more in the 90s than it did in like 2014-ish, you know, somewhere in there. Although that was still a cool time to kind of like revisit, although I feel like he did better describing the 90s and taking us back in time than he did in like the present. And I thought that that was kind of weird since this was written in 2022. You think that he would have like really tried to make it very like time appropriate for 2014. But I really liked the writing style of this, and I almost feel like the depth of these characters, and I don't know anything about this author or this book, so who knows? Maybe this is a series. I don't think it is. Maybe it is a series, and I'll find out later on Goodreads, but it almost feels like a start of a true, or like a crime fiction series. Like, I feel like the effort he put into really explaining certain characters, I feel like he could have ran with it. I think her name was Keller. I feel like really building up her story, and she is a pregnant FBI agent. We're getting so much of like her life, or details about her that I don't know, it just kind of felt like a cozy crime show that you love the characters, and if they get hurt, you're hurt and you're like, oh my gosh, you know, like it really took me back to watching those type of shows. Criminal Minds, CSI, Law and Order, stuff like that. It just really took me back to those shows where you just really gravitate towards certain characters, and you know all the characters working behind the scenes doing all the things, and you're trying to solve the case with them. And yeah, I really liked it. I do think I'm landing at a 4. I don't think it's a perfect 5 for me. I do feel like I almost went to a 3, but I do feel like I will stay at a 4. I feel like it wasn't anything super amazing, but I think if you like crime fiction, that type of writing, or that type of, I guess, genre and books with good writing, I think you should definitely check out his books, because this one was very entertaining. It almost reminded me of a little bit more modern James Patterson, even kind of Karen Slaughter, not as cutthroat as Karen Slaughter, but we did have a little bit of gore. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I think I would have enjoyed the ending a lot more if it wasn't for what we have just went through. But today, like I said, I got some stuff to get done. And I'm going to be starting The Devotion of Suspect X. This is by Keigo Higashino. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I have the audiobook for this on my Libby, so I'm going to utilize that and get some cleaning done. This is a past book club pick from the Literally Dead book club, I think from last year, if I'm not mistaken, that I didn't get to, and so I threw it in my TBR jar and drew it this quarter, so I gotta get to it. From Japan's most popular best-selling author, today comes his most critically acclaimed award-winning work. Yasuko, a divorced single mother, thought she had finally escaped her abusive ex-husband, and when he shows up one day threatening both her and her teenage daughter, Misato, the situation quickly escalates and he ends up dead on her apartment floor. Without hesitation, her enigmatic neighbor, Ishigama, a brilliant math teacher whose devotion to Yasuko runs deep, offers to calculate the perfect alibi. His one condition is that the two women must follow his instructions to the letter. That sounds so interesting. Like, I feel like I'm gonna have so much fun with this. I'm just really enjoying like the crime fiction, I guess, right now, but like make it interesting, put a little bit of a twist on it, and it's gonna be even better. So I'm excited to jump into this one. I think it's gonna be one for me if the writing, you know, works out. But I'm excited. It's not too long either, so I feel like I'll be able to fly through it. I think I still have like 4-ish hours on my timer from the other day, so I'm gonna hit play on that and just try to finish out that day. And who knows, maybe I will try to make today and tomorrow my last day, because I feel like there's going to be somewhat of a normalcy to our day. I think James has a meeting tomorrow, but I'm probably just going to stick home and like just try to catch up on things around here and do some cleanup and that type of ordeal. So between this and then I may end up, I got from Aardvark, I'll show you guys my next book I'm reading. You Are Fatally Invited, I think is what it's called. I got it from my aardvark, so I may try to read it physically, but I feel like with everything going on, I will probably just get the audiobook from somewhere. But I'll let you guys know. That is my check-in for now. Hopefully I didn't forget anything. And I will let you guys know what I think of this one.
Macmillan Audio presents The Devotion of Suspect X by Keigo Higashino. Read for you by Lilypichu. Chapter 1. At 7:35 a.m., Ishigami left his apartment as he did every weekday morning.
Hello. I started this vlog and it has been a mess ever since, but I am getting ready for bed right now. I think I'm going to shower because I completely forgot that we have a birthday party to go to tomorrow. This week with having the storms and everything, it's just been a mess. And cleanup, today we spent all day outside cleaning up just like debris and stuff that's accumulated in our yard from other people's yards and stuff, and shingles from roofs. It's supposed to get a little rainy here tomorrow, so we got somebody to come out and put a tarp over our roof until we can get like it inspected to see if it can be repaired or if we need to do a new roof. It's been one thing after another, but it is the weekend. We spent our Saturday getting some sun and yeah, just cleaning up a bunch of stuff. I also moved all my garden beds around and got them situated where I want them for this spring. So I'm excited to do a small garden this year. I don't know if I'm gonna fill up each bed. Just gonna kind of see what seeds I have and what ambition I have for the project this year. Our trampoline is looking rather sad. I don't know if it's gonna make it or not. And we have the rabbits back outside, so that's great. They can kind of run around freely out there in our little like fenced in area, and they're just absolutely loving it. Like they don't wanna go back inside. But I am masking and I think I am gonna take a quick shower. I just washed my hair and I'm hoping there's not like leaves and stuff in it. It looks rough, but I literally just washed it. So I think dry shampoo and a little fixing tomorrow and I'll be okay. I've just had it like up in a clip all day. But yeah, we have a birthday party we have to travel for tomorrow. So I thought I'd check in now, do a little self-care night. my nails, I broke so many outside today that I need to file some of the other ones down and paint them. And yeah, just feel a little bit more, I guess, pampered after the long day. But today was supposed to be my last day and I rolled a 1. I was like, I have one more book to go and I rolled a 1. There's no way I'm gonna get it done in 1 hour. I have read over an hour. Before I leave you guys there, I didn't even tell you what I thought of The Devotion of Suspect X. The more I've sat on this one, I like it more and more. But I still think I'm landing at a 3-star. I feel like it could almost be a 4-star. God, I don't even remember what I said last about this, and you guys might be able to hear the train that's across town. It's just super loud. But I really felt for this mom and daughter. I want to say I read the synopsis and that was it. But yeah, this lowlife comes and like is pretty much asking her for money. It's her ex-husband. He is still bothering them, and he makes these just really awful jokes and says really cruel things about her and her daughter, and the daughter loses it. Okay, yeah, it's in the synopsis. The daughter like loses, it's one of those where like the daughter attacks and kills, and then the mother's like, I have to cover up for her. And then the rest of the book is their neighbor who has like this really weird obsession with the mother, and he's trying to help them. I don't think it's like the synopsis where it says he gives them a calculated list of like what to do, and I kind of wish it was that. I wish it was more of that vibe of giving us like a list that she has to kind of like check off and like go through each one and do. Instead, it's like we get to see part of it and then the rest kind of unravels as the story goes, because then we jump to the perspective of the detective, and then it becomes one of those books where should you root for the daughter and the mother who killed somebody, or like should you root for the detective who is trying to solve this story in this case? And it's just, it's so hard. But there is a lot of elements that are really cool about it. And sorry, I had something on my lip mask. I feel like the ending had a really weird reveal that I was not expecting, but I don't know if I necessarily loved it. I don't know. I think I'm landing at a 3-star. I think I just need to seal the deal on it and say it's a 3-star. But I do know that this is part of a series. Apparently this is like book 3, but you can read them as standalones. He is kind of like the top dog. Don't quote me on this, but I think in like China for writing like crime fiction thrillers. Thought that was really cool. But this is the first one I think that was translated to English, if I'm not mistaken, and it was translated by Alexander O. Smith with Ellie J. Alexander. And I think they did a great job. I did overall like the characters. I do wonder what the character development is from the first one to this one, but yeah, I don't really know if it's a series I would continue. Since they are kind of like standalones, I don't think it was enough to like really hook me, but I am excited to check off another backlist book club pick. I am jumping back into You Are Fatally Invited. This is my last thriller for this video. This is a new release. Isn't this aardvark copy so beautiful? Yeah, I'm gonna go wash this off my face. This is the cover, which is, I think, so pretty. And I'm hoping it wows me. An exclusive thriller writer's retreat hosted on a private island turns lethal when one of the authors is found murdered in this twisty, locked room mystery. And the beginning has, like I said earlier, the like clue board. So cool. I'm gonna go wash this off, shower, and then do a little pamper sesh while I listen to the audiobook and get a little bit of this done tonight.
Chapter 12.
An excerpt from Every Death You Fake by Val Lamont, J.R. Allister. Chapter 8. It was 3:47 in the morning, and Peter, Rodrigo,
Okay, real quick, because I know the lighting is not great. I'm a mess. It's been a long day. We had a birthday party out of town and we did some shopping afterwards. So I know this video is super, super long, but if you have stuck through to this point, you guys get to see a little sneak peek haul of what I picked up today before my next haul video. I did go to Target first, and they had a deal going on which is for Circle members, and I'm not even a Circle member, so it didn't really even affect me. But at the time I thought it did, but I want to tandem read the Ruinous Love, isn't that what it's called? Ruinous Love series. I want to tandem read this, so I was hoping to just for, you know, the discount, get the 3. And I really liked this like special edition hardback of this copy. So I thought that that was cool, but they ended up only having these 2 and the 3rd one was sold out. So then went to Barnes and I got the 3rd one, and I got the Barnes & Noble special edition of that one. Come Closer by Sarah Gran. This is a possessed story, one of my favorites. I love it. Also, Classic Works of Horror, Edgar Allan Poe. This is a really, really cool cover and edition. But I love it because it also matches the Exorcist one that I got recently. So yeah. And then I picked up 2 Rosemary babies. Rosemary's Baby and Son of Rosemary. Because I'm currently doing a vlog for those as well. But I wanted to check in with you guys. Because it's been a long day, but I wanted to at least let you know what I read last night, because I made it to almost 50%. And what I will say right now is that this book really sucks you in. And I just want to know like what's going to happen. Not only is this kind of like out, kind of, you know, locked door thriller where they're kind of like secluded on this island type ordeal and there's no way to leave. And like the synopsis says, like somebody ends up dying and we're getting like a bunch of point of views. And it seems like with each part, it's like the point of view of the next person that could be potentially going. And it has now escalated into a game where all of these authors are there. We also follow Mila, who is coordinating this event. And she thinks she's in the know of everything going on, and she kind of has like her own master plan to take down one of them that I still don't know who it is. She keeps talking about them like she's writing this to them, but we don't know yet who that person is. So she has her own like side agenda, as well as helping kind of with payback on all of these authors for the main author who's hosting this, who we haven't even seen. And could this Alistair author be one of them? It's really fun. It very much is Clue vibes, and I'm having such a good time. I will check in with you guys tomorrow and give you more of, I guess, a review or update, maybe describe a little bit more. My headspace is kind of all over the place right now, but I at least wanted to let you guys know that I'm enjoying it so far. It might even be my favorite so far in this video. I need to think back, but really, really liking it so far. And I was actually going to wrap this book up this morning, but I got sucked back into it last night and couldn't put it down. This is definitely, if you have the time, a one-setting book. Like, you will get this done like that. It is so fast-paced and so intriguing and entertaining, and the way this author leaves you at the end of each chapter is super fun. I definitely think that there is some moments where she left us hanging for like, you know, something that wasn't like as dramatic as the chapter left off, you know, that type of vibe. But at the same time, I feel like there was an even balance of it that it still kind of kept you guessing and wondering, is it as bad as it seems, or is this just like a understanding? But I had such a good time with this one. I'm having a hard time placing it. I feel in my gut that this is a 5-star because I loved reading it so much. It was so entertaining. But with that being said, don't get me wrong, there's definitely aspects of this book that I feel like people are gonna read and be like, yeah, I kind of figured. I think it was just being in the dark for so long, and that doesn't happen very often with me with thrillers. So yeah, it's a 4 or a 5. You guys will see. But I just had such a great time with this. There's so many people, so I'm gonna try not to be confusing. But we have Mila, who is the coordinator. She is planning this whole Clue style event, and I mentioned it briefly last night. She knows that this Alistair author who is planning this whole thing. So this Alistair is a author that nobody knows their identity, and they've been around for decades at this point, and they're all of these authors that come to this retreat, he is like their like top dog author. Like, they love his work so much. They are so excited for this opportunity, but also are questioning like the people, I guess, that arrive. They're like, why are why is it these people? Mila, who has claimed to have never met Alistair, is coordinating it, and she is making it very like, oh, it's just like a play, like dinner murder party type of ordeal. But she knows that this author, Alistair, is bringing these certain people to this island because he wants payback. Obviously, she's like, oh, it's just gonna be like this slight, like, you know, fear or like teach you a lesson type of ordeal, and not necessarily like killing somebody. But she is starting to realize that she is kind of in the dark with all of Alistair's plans. But she knows she has set things that she has to do each day. And I love the setup of that, going from each day kind of being like parts of this book, and then it jumps point of views. And also, if you get the audiobook, each character has their own narrator. And I thought that that was a really fun touch to kind of hear their voices, and like, I guess it just feels more real when they all have like their own, you know, voices to go with it. Besides that, we have all of the authors, and I feel like I'm going to forget some, but we have Rodrigo and Olivia. Yeah, because Olivia Rodrigo, I thought that that was kind of funny. I don't know if the author is a huge Olivia Rodrigo fan, but yeah, they're a couple that came together. They write books together. And then we have Fletcher, who is this like, you know, posh guy who thinks he's better than everybody else. We have Cassandra, who is this older lady who kind of has that vibe of just being very snippy and kind of thinking that she's better than everybody too. We have Ashton, who is kind of becoming a little bit of a love interest for Mila. She really adores his work, and she keeps thinking to herself like, why is he here? What did he do that would cause him to be here with the rest of these people? And then besides that, we have Violet, who also writes books. They all kind of write thriller horror books, and she, from the get-go, has kind of felt like the black sheep to me. She's a little bit more subtle and laid back and a little bit more quieter than some of the others. I want to say I covered everybody. There's also the like chef, and I want to say it was a chef and a sous chef. They were mainly in the kitchen almost the whole time, and those are people that Mila had brought on to help for the events. But yeah, this book is full of deaths. It is full of mystery and kind of leaving you in the dark and trying to stick to that vibe till the very end, so you're constantly guessing who did it, what's going on, and I don't know, there's just so many questions behind this. It was such a fun time, and I'm really glad that Kayla from Books and Lala chose this as a Literally Dead book club. I can't wait for the meeting. I think it's going to be such a fun book to discuss. And with that being said, oh, by the way, I do have a bookmark still in here because, was it this video I mentioned the bookmark for in the Void Book Club, where we're doing a scavenger hunt and the word machete is in this book. So I bookmarked it so that I can, when I get my journal, I can write down like what book I got machete from. Anyways, you guys don't care. This is what I read for this experiment. It was supposed to just be a week. It ended up being extended because of the storms, but I do feel like I kind of stuck to 6-7 days of reading for this, so I'm pretty proud of this lineup right here. Out of all of them, I feel like it was a fun time, although I mainly got 3-star books. I will say You Are Fatally Invited was definitely my favorite. It was so much fun to read this one, and I feel like all of them are so different in their own ways. I think next I would have to say The Night Shift, because I had a really fun time with the writing style of that one, and probably a toss-up between The Devotion of Suspect X and Dark Places next, and then The Soulmate being the last one, just because, I don't know, it just kind of dragged on for me. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this long video. I am happy to say that our neighborhood, our area is getting cleaned up. The city is really helping. The state is helping a lot as far as like 2 of our schools got damaged, so they are, you know, paying for that, which I think is amazing to repair those. But yeah, everything is just going to be abnormal for a little while, trying to getting the hang of all of the new things, and our 1 week spring break has extended into 3 weeks while they're all trying to figure this out, and it's just been a very tough time. But I think in our county there ended up being 1 death, unfortunately. Still, it's a loss, and then the surrounding counties had more deaths. It's been a very trying and very hard time, but we will get through. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I will see you in my next video.
Don't